You just can't write a book and hold some stuff back.
Yeah.
Because if you hold some stuff back, there's a million books like that. Imagine going on a date and you go, I'm not going to be super nice. I want to hold some back until we see if this relationship's real. Your mom says, how was the date? He's like, she was kind of polite. Be the one that they go, oh my God, why is Chandler giving me his deepest secrets for success in this book? Because you might not have a second chance to make a first impression.
Hey, Chandler Bolt here, and joining me today is Dean Graziosi, and we're going to talk about the 3 steps to actually sell copies of your book. We're learning from a guy who's had 2 books that have sold over 1 million copies, and that doesn't just happen by accident. It happens on purpose. It happens with a plan, with a strategy. You may have seen him on the podcast before. We talked about infomercials to sell books. We've had him at our live event talking about selling books. He's built an education company to over $100 million. That is mastermind.com. And so joining me today, Dean.
Good to be here, man.
Welcome.
Good to have you back in Arizona.
So let's break this down.
Let's do it.
Lab, $2 million book launches, 3 steps. I think it starts with kind of the hook, and it starts with nailing the hook in a way that it's actually going to sell to begin with. So how do you think about that? And what's kind of your first map? I know I've seen a little bit. I don't want to spoil it, but I've seen a little bit behind the scenes. I know we got a book on the horizon. We're probably not talking about the idea yet, but how are you thinking about that, and how have you thought about that in the past?
So I got to, and if this first step doesn't seem like it's something you want to do as you write a book or you comprehend it, I still have to share it. I've been thinking more about how I've been able to sell books like that, because I'm coming up on a book, and I've already feel blessed to have 2 that sold over 1 million copies. I can't let this one sell like 940,000 copies, right? I got to. And what I realized is, I would love for you to think about before the book, and I might be jumping ahead here, but I like to think about the end in mind. What is the end result you want for these clients? Is it just, if you're writing a fiction book, maybe you just want to sell books. I get that. So maybe this doesn't apply. But maybe there's a fiction book membership that goes along with the book. So what I like to think about is, if in an ideal world, you're selling the exact amount of books you want to sell, and people read the book and go, gosh, this is so good. I wish there was more. And that's the way I think about, I want to write a book, and I know you do too. I want to write a book that goes, damn, this is so good. What's next? Mm-hmm. And I like to think about that what's next part, because if you do, and if you're writing something like you on how to write a book, or heck, we did something great with Matthew McConaughey. We'll talk about it another time, right? If you create something so good and they want more, you're actually doing them a disservice by not creating that more. That's what I believe. So the reason I put this step first, because if you write a book and you want to do your own marketing, and say you get a publishing deal or not, you just put it on Amazon, you get to keep most of it. Whatever you decide to do, if you're just getting the value of the book, then your marketing budget, if you want to take it to the next level, your marketing budget is restricted by that. If you're selling it for 19 books and you got to pay for the book, you got to pay Amazon a little, and you get $4 a book, then you can only afford to pay $4 cost per acquisition if you decide to market, if you want to scale it. And we know you're not going to be able to do that. So what I like to think about first is, where would these clients go? What percentage of people might take a monthly membership or a monthly community or a coaching program where you could really, a book is very transformational. Coaching might be, a book is very inspirational in a lot of ways. Is there something that could give accountability and transformation or connection or community? Because if you say, hey, everyone who buys a book, if I just have a book, they're worth $19 total. If I say, if someone buys a book, but 10% of them buy a $5,000 program, now 10% of 5,000 is $500. Now your book buyer is actually worth $519.
Yep.
And so I want to be really transparent when I say I sold 1 million copies of each, is I understand this model. So since I knew people were going to buy my books and be like, damn, this is good, what's next, and buy other products, I knew the lifetime value of that client. And then I took that money and spent it on the front end in advertising.
For the book itself.
For the book itself.
Knowing that would lead into the back end course or the back end.
Yeah. So I know that's a big step, but I just want to be really transparent. That was the main reason I was able to sell 5,000 books a week, because I could afford, at the time I was spending $30 to get a $12 sale. How does that happen? Because I knew the clients would read the book and go, this is great. What's next? and what's next,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's number one. So now let's get back to the normal flow. But
well, yeah, and so then the hook, I'm assuming, is aligned with what's beyond the book as
yes,
well.
without
So
a
the
doubt.
hook is the same thing. Now, if you were to deconstruct kind of 5 books that you've published, 2 of them have sold more than 1 million copies. What do you think is different about either the hook or the marketing for those 2 versus the other 3?
You know what's crazy is the 2 that sold over 1 million copies had millionaire in the title. I always think if that's it, right? One was Be a Real Estate Millionaire, right? It was in '07 when the market crashed. And I taught people how to, the book, it said Be a Real Estate Millionaire. I really taught people how to be safe in a down market. So the title was a little contradicting to what I thought, but everybody loved it and it went nuts. And that was fueled by an infomercial and online marketing. And then Millionaire Success Habits was my book about 9 years ago. Got great momentum on and how it, so the common thread was the marketing strategy behind it. I thought through the whole piece. I thought through the hook. My marketing matched what was in the world. You know, you ever watch Jimmy or Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Right? When he always talks about if you want to go viral on YouTube, the thumbnail, your video has to match the thumbnail, especially in the first few seconds. Right? And I feel like sometimes you see a book title, and then when you read it, it's taking you so long to feel what the title is. Right? I think that's big. When Millionaire Success Habits, I come right out of the gate of giving you habits of the most successful people in the world. And I think it immediately resonated with people. They got it. We had a great read through. I mean, I think that's the common thread of those 2.
That's good. And so the next one is maybe Mastermind Millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. I might as well. Yeah.
Millionaire in the title. So you got a good hook. The hook connects to what's beyond the book. You've kind of Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind.
Yep.
Now we move into the writing, which you've already kind of breadcrumbed us to. How do you write a great book that actually has good read through, as you mentioned, and maybe even most importantly, for the purposes of what you're doing, leads them to take the next step to actually working with you beyond the book?
It's really great. So, and since I only write a book about every 5 years, please know if some of this feels dusty and I'm blowing it off to share it. I don't have a context. I don't have a framework that's right in front of me. I'm just remembering now because especially I'm writing a book right now. And as I write it, what I would suggest to do as you write a book, not that you want to write it like a marketing hook, but you really should use AI to write, say you write a chapter. In today's world, this wasn't available 2 years ago. I would put that chapter into AI and I'd say, if I was going to write an opening paragraph that was an open loop or a hook to anchor someone in to read this entire chapter, what would you take from the chapter and create it? Now, I did this prior in Millionaire Success Habits. Every chapter title I thought as a hook, but in the first paragraph, I wanted them to go, damn, this is so good. I got to read this chapter. And that's how I felt in my head. Is this first paragraph so good that go, all right, if I'm not going to read the whole book, but I have to read this chapter. And they're like, damn, that was so good. All right, one more. And every open to each chapter, I believe has to make a promise, has to be bold. It could be told through a story. It could be an open loop, meaning you start something, but you don't finish it till the end. I would practice some marketing strategies. Again, you're not writing a marketing book, but I think it's crucial. I don't know about you. I read a lot of books that I get halfway through and they forget to intrigue me and I kind of lose my focus. And if I know I'm halfway through a book and I'm struggling to go to the next chapter, I know they missed it. Or other books, there's some amazing authors that get you every time, right? Malcolm Gladwell is good at it. You read Malcolm Gladwell books, you get done with a chapter, you're like, damn, I got to go to the next chapter. And he'll tell a compelling story with an open hook, and then he'll start talking about something else, and he closes the story at the end. So I think taking a little marketing practices of hook, story, outcome is a really great approach to get people to go through it. And then if that whole book aligns like that, when they get to the end, like I did at the end of Matthew McConaughey's book, I got done. I'm like, I don't want this thing to be over. I want more McConaughey. I mean, literally, that's how we started a relationship. I had a mutual friend, and we talked to him because I was like, I want more than that book.
That's great. I love that. And so it starts with the idea and the title and a hook that is actually going to sell copies.
Yep.
Then you move into, like you said, writing a great book. That's step 2. And kind of that hook, story, outcome, structure, but then making sure that your read through is good. And then the book is so good that they keep reading it. And then
they want more of it. Yeah,
exactly. And I always talk about this phrase. I forget where I heard this, but it's give away all your best stuff for free, and people will pay you to tell it to them again.
Of course, or they'll pay you for the accountability, or the
Exactly.
connection, or the
Exactly.
proximity, or the community.
And so
Right?
is that kind of your approach with the books?
Absolutely.
You're giving away all the best stuff and then saying,
Everything.
okay, hey,
Everything. The book I'm writing coming up is about being in the knowledge industry, the self-education industry. There will be nothing left out of that book.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, I picture a good book is like the greatest gym you could ever go to. It's got everything. It's got Pilates. It's got yoga. It's got hot yoga. It's got the best, newest weights. It's got the track. It's got basketball. It's got racquetball. But the greatest gyms in the world don't get people in shape. Usually, you got to get accountability with a trainer. True?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think of writing a book of
That's good.
I want to make this the best gym in the world that everybody brags, oh my gosh, this book has everything. But I'm still not doing it. Can you help me? They raise their hand. When they raise their hand, I get the opportunity to help them through a community or capabilities or accountability or a coaching program, that kind of thing.
I love that. So guys, don't hold back in your book.
That's a true
I
story.
know people are always like, but hold up, Chandler,
I'm giving
if I
too much away.
If I don't, I got to hold some back.
Yeah, but here's
Don't
the thing.
hold
If
it
you
back.
hold it back, though, somebody said something the other day about the internet that I thought was so good. It was actually Mr. Beast's ex-president of his company. And he said he looks at attention, books, online video, anything. He said he looks at it as fracking. Must be a Texas guy. He said, because he said all the oil is drilled. The only people who are getting oil now is if they frack, which is a whole, got to go down, go to the right. And I understood his philosophy. What he meant is you just can't write a book and hold some stuff back.
Yeah.
Because if you hold some stuff back, there's a million books like that. Be the one that they go, oh my God, why is Chandler giving me his deepest secrets for success in this book? Because you might not have a second chance to make a first impression, right? It'd be like, imagine going on a date with the man or woman of your dreams and you go, I'm not going to be super nice. I want to hold some back until we see if this relationship's real. Then they leave and go home. How was the date, Mom? Or your mom says, how was the date? He's like, she was kind of polite, or he was kind of like, I want to be like all of it.
Yep.
Because then if you give him that, imagine, I believe people go, wow, if he gave me that in a book, imagine what I'd get if I was in these other sections.
Exactly. That's so good. Let's pause for a second. You got a Thrive in 25 event, or Thrive in 2025 event. That's all about this kind of, if you've got a book, you actually have a course, you just don't know it yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you got a course, you've got a book, you just don't know it yet. And these, our philosophies just kind of pair so well together. So what's the event? Why should people register?
Yeah. So the event is called, like you said, Thrive in 2025. It's happening May 15th through the 17th. And I truly,
My birthday, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. You and I have talked about this. It's why we get to do fun stuff together. And I hope we do a lot more together, is because if you're writing a book, that book, those chapters are modules in a course, or they're topics for a coaching program, or they're topics for a monthly or weekly training in a community. And I love the fact of unpackaged wisdom and then helping people accountable. So for me, a book is passive. You read it, you either do the work or not. It's the gym. You get to go and do the work or not. A course gives another layer of accountability because you can break it up into teaching. You can break it up into your story, teaching, then give them an action. And you just watch, in my opinion, more transformation happen. So long story short, the event is Tony Robbins, myself, we got some great guests. We got Matthew McConaughey coming, Jay Shetty coming, some other great people, all people who have taken their life experiences, including Tony and I, and turned them into a business. And during those 3 days, we're going to show you how to package it, how to market it through service, how to get people to say yes. We say through love rather than hardcore sales. This is our seventh one. We average about 800,000 people every time we do one of these in over 100 countries. It's going to be pretty fantastic.
That's awesome. That's exciting. Guys, click the link in the description or the link in our bio. You'll find the link to register for this event. We hope to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We were there last year. It was a great time. So let's move into step 3 and actually marketing this book.
Okay.
So you talked about this at the start of this, which is, okay, I know it's leading to something beyond the book. So now I can and I was spending $30 to sell a $12 book. How much of the focus for you is on the launch versus after the launch? And what's 2 or 3 things that you go all in on, or you went all in on?
So first off, write the book of your life, right? But then know once the book is done, even though you wrote an amazing book, it will not sell. Like, just put in your mind, you're not going to release it and it's going to be so good it sells. Like, I don't even have that delusion for it to be true, because when you walk in a Barnes and Noble or 80% of the books sell less than 500 copies. That's the stat if you Google it, right? So I would just say, write the book of your life, and then as much energy as it took for the writes and the rewrites and the let me switch that chapter, then all of that has to be on how to get it in. That energy has to all be transmuted, transformed into the marketing of how to get it in people's hands. So if the launch of the book is, an Amazon launch, I mean, for me, what I've been doing forever, and I'd probably do the same thing, is I would do a pre-launch of having a page, and I'm sure you teach this, a page where you give away bonuses. If they go and get the book, come back with the receipt, they get some extra bonuses. I did that 18 years ago. So it's cool. I watch people still. Lewis Howes just did it. Jay Shetty just did it. And a lot of them call me, give me that old page of yours. I send them my old page, right? So it's fun doing this so long, but it still works every time. So the launch is anybody and everybody. I would reach out to people you don't even know, but if they're in your world, I mean, think of our relationship, right? By somebody working with me, it doesn't take away with what you're doing. By somebody working with you, I want every one of my clients to write a book. And I think you should want every one of your clients to transcend and write a course or create a coaching program. We don't take away from each other. 1 + 1 = 5. It's a perfect partnership. There are perfect people out there that would support your book because their clients need what you have, and vice versa. When it's their time, you support them. So everything in your power, from if you want to run ads, you want to do partners and affiliates, you want to get friends to promote it, every email you've ever met, every friend of a friend of a friend. And there's nothing like a one-time, 1-week push to get your book out there. Once that's done, though, then you need a follow-up. How am I going to get this in people's hands? Are you going to do a podcast strategy? We're going to get on as many podcasts as you can and talk about it. If that's not an option or something you want to do, can you take control of it by understanding marketing? And it's some of the stuff we teach, right? It's some of the stuff you teach. I mean, for me, I would never write a book if I didn't have a plan where I could afford to spend marketing money to compound the book. And one big byproduct I want to share with you guys that you might, I know it might sound crazy selling 5,000 books a week, and some people have sold a lot more than me on that. But we did that for years, and the byproduct was unbelievable because we were spending money to sell books because we knew our lifetime value. I was getting checks from Amazon for 80, 100 grand a month because the byproduct of the ads out there, some people saw them and go, I'm not buying off the ad, but I'll just go to Amazon and get it. And it was something I totally didn't expect. So the exposure of paying for the ad had a bigger byproduct than I ever imagined. And now I know that probably wasn't extremely tactical. My whole point is you got to have the launch plan, and then you got to have the post-launch plan.
Got it. So launch plan, post-launch plan. You said 5,000 copies a week. Was that mostly through, I think, in the early days, or maybe the first book, an infomercial?
First book was infomercial. Second one was online.
Online ads
and
to a
free book.
Okay.
So we did free book.
Free plus shipping.
Free plus shipping.
Yeah. And so that was the primary funnel. And then you'd have a bunch of people buy it on Amazon, but then the free plus shipping was directly
so
to your
if you understand, I don't want to overwhelm you with a funnel or a client path, but it basically was get the book. It was the same book you'd buy on Amazon. We produced it beautiful. Book, if you pay $8.95 shipping and handling.
Yep.
And then after they said yes to that, we offered them a confidence course for like $97 and a how to sell and be persuasive for $47. So some people would choose those, and our average ticket on the way in was $25. So even though it was a $1 trial, the average person spent $25. And then I knew eventually they would buy other products and services. So we would, even though we got $25, and then we'd have to spend the $8 or $10 we asked for to ship it. It's probably more than that now. It was okay because the value of that client was more like $80 in about 90 days or to 120 days. So we, even though we only took in $25, $30 on the front, we were spending $30 a book, and I could spend almost an unlimited amount. So for those of you that was over your head, I'm sorry. But for those of you that want to study and go deep, it's what you teach. It's what we teach, and what you'll learn on some of that you'll learn on the event that Tony and I are doing.
That's great. Well, guys, step 1, come up with a great hook that actually sells books. Step 2, write a great book that ties in with something beyond the book. And then step 3, we talked about your marketing plan. So your launch plan, and like you said, your post-launch plan. So I hope you enjoyed this video. 2 things as we wrap up here. Number 1, register for the Thrive in 2025 event. So you can find the link along with this video. And then secondly, I'd love for you to comment below this video. Let us know what were your biggest takeaways. You got a course, you got a book, which one you doing? And what were your takeaways from today's video? We'll see you in the next video.